Sometimes my heart can't lie to get out.
Reading next is Deborah Doolittle. And Deborah read for us last year. We put on several of these events for each of the issues, and we had one in Raleigh, North Carolina, at their new, their new building for their their new contemporary museum of art, which is really cool. And had a fun time at that reading, and Deborah came out and read for us there, and it's really cool that she made the trip north to read again. Deborah H. Doolittle teaches at Coastal Carolina Community College. Her chapbooks, No Crazy Notions, and That Echo have won the Marybelle Chapbell Poetry Book Award and the Longleaf Press Award, respectively. Deborah H. Doolittle.
My poems, everybody hear me? My poems tend to be very short, so I'm going to read 7 poems for you. But because of that, I'm not going to do too much of an introduction to each of them. Washing Woman. I'm washing dresses faded and frayed, others of dust motes and cobwebs. The starlit dress I wore the night we met, the trellis we set our bees and flowers on, our nectar, your pollen, my honeycombs. The bruises and kisses under your shirt, the salt on your cheeks, the damp soil, the leaves on the trees with mild detergent, each blade of grass where it lies, the tub and myself will lie. I scrub and scour the sky. That, if you want to know, is a love poem. Here's another one. The title of this poem, I Want to Be Part of Your Landscape, is meant to be read into the first line of the poem. I want to be part of your landscape, even if I lose myself. I want to be part of that view I have come to recognize as you. I want to be the soft shadow that clings to the underside of trees, the dew on the violets thriving there, the secret sent from leaf to leaf to leaf on the summer morning. I want to walk the distant ridge, disappear briefly in the valley on the other side, mingle with the mist that meanders there. I want to wallow on the flowered bed of tall grasses, rain on the fields, furrowed and plowed, drop down to that seed you planted with your thumb. I need to be that basic and unobserved. This one is my husband's favorite poem, one of his favorite poems, and you can see why. Peeling apples. My husband and I tell apple stories. How my grandmother rolled out 1 dozen pie crusts at a time. How his granny made corosette with chopped almonds and cherry wine. When I lift the bushel basket up and remember there are other apples, soft, withered, kept all winter in the cellar. My grandmother removed peels in one long spiral down. Throwing the peel over my shoulder, she taught me how to read the secrets lettered there. I'd like to say that I'd found my husband's name. He laughs anyway. And I try to do the same as we spiral apples in our hands, peel memories away. They drop and coil on the table in long, continuous chains. How safe I think, as my husband talks about wine saps, and I about pippins, how bruised ones are fit only for baking. When my voice begins to sound like my grandmother's resonant waver, I stop and listen. He hears it too, that echo. I'm going to give one poem about my daughter and one poem about my son. Our Dinosaur Dictionary. At 8, my daughter knows she wants to be a paleontologist. Already she understands how to pronounce Ankylosaurus, Diplodocus, Hypsilophodon. Quick to correct me when I am wrong. On summer afternoons, she sneaks into the garage, takes the garden tools, digs test holes, excavates the backyard, brings home unusual stones, smooth, ovoid, mottled gray. In her bedroom, she arranges them on a shelf among the scattered bits of mandibles, tiny teeth of gopher skulls, coyotes have left behind our fence. She labels each of them as if it were a rare specimen. Often I find her on hands and knees, jeans streaked with mud, unmindful of the grass. She complains, "You don't let her dig deep enough." She knows that bones are down there, tar pit survivors needing only to be unearthed, given a name. Our son's name is Joshua, and in Hebrew it is Yehoshua. Spelling Yehoshua. My 4-year-old son, who is learning his Hebrew letters, looks for his name in a bowl of chicken alphabet soup and finds not a one. No Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, as he picks through his ABCs. No raucous Chet, no beloved Lamed, not a single Sophite, supercilious or tight-lipped. No clench-fisted Yod to pull the whole alphabet together. He is not content with the letter J when Samech lies upon his encyclopedic plate. As he continues to search for likenesses to Vav and Ayin, I try to explain to him how they do not exist among the S's and T's. But I prefer to watch as he spreads limp letters across the table, finally spelling Yehoshua instead. Save the lesson for another day. Then he eats the letters up. On Wednesdays, I volunteer as a wildlife rehabilitator at Cottonwood Acres Wildlife Sanctuary in Hubert, North Carolina. And there I get to observe some animals in their natural habitat because some of them tend to stay after they are released. And this one's about wood ducks. Wood ducks look like they've been carved from blocks of wood, balsa wood to be exact, floating high and lightly upon the water like ancient sailing vessels on the Mediterranean. Their features are chiseled, cut precisely between blocks of black and swaths of white. Their backs whittled and modeled into the perfect texture of feathers. Their crests, large and generous, sweep down the backs of their heads and necks in one grand arc of concentrated green. So shy, they fly away on leaping wings whenever I approach and reveal a white belly, whiter than bleached linen, and beneath each wing, a golden patch of yellow. Sometimes they just circle right around to the middle of the pond, which is how I think of them, the real decoys with which all other pretenders must ultimately contend. And finally, this is based on a real experience, believe it or not. Midnight at the disco bowling alley. The black lights came on first, then the rotating disco balls, shedding shards of colored lights upon the seats, the scoreboards, the tables, the lacquered lanes, and all the balls. The speed balls, the curve balls with their slow rumble-tumble down the boards, the ones that bump against the pins so gently they hesitate to shake a bit before falling over. Ones that skirt the edge of disaster, others stood head to head on racks behind them, shrouded in thought, vacant-eyed in remembrances of games long past. Some could tell, like their distant cousins of the Magic Eight, the future, which was bleak. Others missed the toes they stepped on, the countless fingers they smashed. No one got up to dance. The only music, the strikes and spares, the splits and gutter balls. The bowling pins rocked and rolled all night, and the bowling balls wound up where they had begun, in rows of round faces set to, "Oh no," for hours on end. Thank you.
Yeah, the only one that able to